Here to help us navigate the current market environment and look at opportunities right now is John Rogers. He's the chairman and co-CEO of Ariel Investments and a longtime Berkshire meeting attendee. John, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by here.
Great to be here.
What's your, what are you looking to hear from Mr. Buffett and Munger? Both about, I mean, we know that the principles they're going to accentuate that they always do about how they do their business and what matters and doesn't matter in the earnings and how they approach things. But what about the moment right now where it seems like there's big questions about financial system stability, whether there's value in bank stocks, whether the economy can handle these rate hikes?
A couple things that I'm going to be looking for. One, when Becky interviewed Warren when he was in Asia, and there was talk, and Warren talked about how certain of his companies were not meeting expectations. Earnings were going to be less than expected, and profits were lower than expected. And so I want to see if that trend has continued. Is he still seeing weakness in the overall economy? And the second thing, Becky followed up the question about Paramount Global. And he was kind of a little bit soft and not as aggressively supporting his position as I had expected. So I'm curious to see what he has to say today about it, especially after the stock dislocated this week.
And you are an owner of Paramount,
right?
Correct?
We are an owner of Paramount Global. It's not been a fun week.
Yeah, how do you feel about things? I mean, Paramount slashing the dividend. I think it caught some people by surprise, but Mario Gabelli was here yesterday, and he said it didn't catch him by surprise. He wanted them to do that because he wanted them to shore up their cash position and put it back into their business at this point.
I think it was the right decision, and I watched Mario yesterday morning, and then we did a panel, and he has been very positive about the future for Paramount Global. So we're still very, very optimistic. We think they have so many assets around the world. They've got that great Paramount library. They've got Mission Impossible coming out this year, all the great sports entertainment that they have, and all-time favorites like 60 Minutes. So I think there's more there than just the streaming, and I think sometimes people are more worried than they need to be.
Is it more there as a standalone business, or do you think that this is an acquisition target? And that, I mean, Mario Gabelli has always been about, the business of lovemaking with mergers and acquisitions.
You're right. I think that everyone, as we talk to experts in the industry, everyone says there's way too many streaming services. We've got to get it down to 3, 4 at the maximum. So I think it's very possible that Paramount Global will be bought at some point.
As a value manager, do you look at the carnage in things like regional banks and anything that seems like it's connected to a commercial real estate and view that as more of a core risk to the economic outlook, or is there actual value being surfaced in the process?
Well, I think the stocks have gotten crushed. There's a lot of pessimism, and as Warren often says, you want to be greedy when others are fearful. So I think if you're going to buy the banking stocks, you'd buy a whole basket of them, not try to pick one, but really be diversified. We've been also adding to our favorite Northern Trust, is our favorite bank stock. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to be okay. There's going to be some pain and anguish here, and of course, commercial real estate's getting harmed. And it doesn't help having the banks and the problems they are. But down the road, we'll be fine.
I've been talking to folks here in the last day, and there is a little bit of suspense as to whether, in fact, clearly we'll get some questions on this, whether Buffett himself sees there to be any opportunities here to provide capital in areas where it's like, I mean, it's worth going back to how he acquired a lot of his financial positions, right? American Express 60 years ago, coming off a crisis that it needed capital. Bank of America, clearly, Salomon Brothers in the early 90s, Goldman Sachs back around the crisis, too. So, in other words, he's been there as a source of stable capital at times when the financial system seemed like it was in trouble. Would you want to see him make a move like that?
That would bring a lot of confidence to the economy and to the financial system. Whenever he steps up, all of us believe in him so much. So I think it would be great if he was able to be helpful during this period and get a great return for Berkshire shareholders.